What type of side business should you start? This is a really big question that I think causes a lot of procrastination for a lot of people who are looking at starting a little side hustle, a side gig, building an online income stream that's going to be a blessing to their family. They're wanting to do all of that, but we get stuck at what should I do? Like, where do I start? What kind of business should I build? And especially when we're a complete beginner, if that's you, this video is for you. That was me about 5 years ago, and I was just like trying different things and exploring different things and probably spending way too long on YouTube and researching all these different ideas because I just had no idea what kind of a business would work with my lifestyle and with my unique situation. You have a unique situation. I don't know your situation. For me, I was having little kids. I had 4 boys in the space of 2 years and 9 months. Obviously, my wife did all of the work. And we were in a situation where we were living in a house with 9 people, 3-bedroom, tiny apartment here in Hong Kong. It was intense, and there was a real kind of drive within me to get out there and provide at a higher level. I had an awesome job. I love what I do. I want to continue to do that for the rest of my life. I believe it's my calling. I work for a church here in Hong Kong, if you don't know. And so I want to keep doing that, but I also am looking down the path at the future for what my kids need, and to be able to, not just their needs, but also maybe some of our wants as a family, like being able to go back to Australia a few times, well, maybe not a few times a year, maybe once a year. It's expensive to take me and my wife, 4 boys, all that kind of stuff. And so I was feeling that kind of a pressure, and I'm looking at my life, I'm looking at the kind of life that I want, and I know that nothing comes easy, and that hard work is going to be how I'm going to get to be able to designing the life that I actually want. And so I'm looking at different business models, and the way that I started was I did start on YouTube. So if that's you, if you're looking around online and you're seeing different ideas, that's a good place to start. Now, you can do that too much. There is a point where you actually need to stop researching and just start doing. But I think at the beginning, allow yourself to explore different things. And so for me, the more I thought about it, and the more as I looked around at my situation and what I could do and what I felt excited to learn about, I started with the idea to build a custom leather jacket business. At the time, I was wearing a lot of leather jackets. Even though I didn't have much money, I still had a few great leather jackets that I really loved. And I just thought, man, everyone should have a leather jacket. And at the time, I was going to Bali quite often because we have one of our churches there that I help with. And so I had bought some custom fitted leather jackets in Bali at a very good price. And I thought, man, the whole world should enjoy a custom made leather jacket. And I thought, man, I could sell these. These are, $100 for a custom made leather jacket. Pretty good. Now, as I went down this path, and even on my honeymoon in Bali, I was off looking at shops and like seeing if I could find a supplier and things like this. Yes, I was motivated. As I went down this path, I even started looking at how we could design a website, and I had a logo and everything like this. And as I started thinking more about physical products, I just thought, man, if we like directly send customers this, leather jackets from Bali, if I find a supplier, I'm not going to be able to inspect the quality. And sometimes they might try to take some shortcuts. And I just thought, this is going to be a nightmare. People are going to be returning things, and I'm not going to know what they're receiving. I'm not going to be able to control the packaging, all of that. This is going to be hard work. And I just realized that's a bad business model, and I stopped. And I am so glad that I did not go down that path. But I kind of did at the beginning. I put a lot of time into it. I put a lot of research, and definitely do that, but you need to kind of start somewhere. So start with something you're interested in and start exploring that. And it probably won't be the thing exactly that you land on, but you're going to learn some things. And I'm not saying put a lot of money into it. You can go in hard and with your money and you're not going to be able to get that back. So I think with your time, you can go for it, but maybe just hold back on putting down huge investments on something that you really aren't sure that it's going to be a success and be a blessing to your family. So yeah, I was looking at that, and then I'm realizing I need to build something online. Actually, I think I started with apps. I was thinking maybe I could make apps, and once again, I'm going with an area of passion. Now, I've never made an app before, but I'm an online guy, and I like this type of thing. And I thought, wow, it'd be so cool to be able to make my own apps. And so I started looking into learning how to create iOS apps, apps for iPhones, and I started learning. And then I was like, whoa, this is a serious learning curve. Okay, right. If you've never coded before, then, and this is probably like 6 years ago, probably more, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, actually, looking at learning how to code, it's like learning a language. And I just realized this is a bigger time commitment and energy commitment than I'm actually willing to put into it. So I scrapped that idea after downloading all the stuff that I needed to be able to start creating apps, and I kind of flushed that idea. So I'm back on YouTube again, looking at ideas and things like this. And then I realized that there's a lot of like local businesses, and even in Hong Kong, I was sitting in a cafe, and I look at the kind of a retail store that was outside, and it was a brand that I've seen in a number of places. And I Googled the brand. I couldn't even find a website for that store, and I knew they had multiple shops. I think all I found was like a Facebook, and I realized, man, these guys need a website. Even like a bad one would be better than this. And even like, especially an average one, I knew I could make an average website just with a website builder. And even though I'd never done that for a client before, I knew that there was kind of drag and drop website builders. Maybe I could make something. So I did. I made a website for that company, and I was going to go up to them and say, hey, would you like a website? I've already made you one. And I never got to that point, but I kind of half built it. And then I started thinking more and more about, wow, what if I could offer websites as a subscription service? So instead of paying this big upfront fee and maybe taking a risk on a developer, what if I could build them a website and just charge them a small monthly fee? Then if they don't like it, it's a small financial investment. And so that's what I was going to do. I was going to start charging, a subscription model for websites. And I even talked with a good friend of mine, and he actually implemented that business model and actually got it going before I could. He was much, just better at just implementing. I was more of a dreamer than he was, and he did well with that for a little while until he kind of got into his main business model. And I think that's still a viable business, even though, websites in 2024, websites have been around for 20 years, but there's still a lot of companies that don't have one, small businesses that need a website. But as I was exploring more about building websites, then I realized that in order for people to find your website, you have to be present on Google, and you have to be on the first page. And so ranking on Google is really important. And as I was studying how to build a website, I also started learning about SEO, so search engine optimization. And I was watching as many free videos as I could on how to rank websites. And then I got into some courses, and this was new to me. I had never paid for a course before, outside of like university or something official like that. And it is a little bit scary to pay for an online course from someone who's just made it, like not an official kind of course, but someone just online and they're a YouTuber or whatever, and they've made a course. Like you kind of feel like you might get scammed. And I know that there are some dodgy courses out there, but that was me as well. I was thinking, and so I tried to watch as much as I could, watch the free content of that person, and then I paid for their course. And I think I paid $500 for the course, and I jumped into it, and it was awesome. And it was nothing fancy in terms of the production of the course, but the content was really good, and the person coaching was really helpful. And I joined the Facebook group, and Facebook groups are so valuable. Those paid groups, if you can get in them, in a good course, you can just ask questions and people will answer your question. You get access to the coach. That was amazing. And so that really helped me in my early days. And then because I had such a good experience, I joined another course. And actually I was referred to that course from my first course coach. He told me of another coach, and he said, "Hey, you're a pastor. I know a guy that runs a course just for people in ministry about how they can build side incomes." And I'm like, "What? Is that even a thing?" Sure enough, it was. And so I paid $1,000 to get into that course, and that course was even better because it was really targeted for people like me. Who don't want to build big side businesses or big businesses. We just want to create extra income streams so that we can keep building the church and doing what we love, and which is what my channel is all about. I want to encourage you to do what you love and not just do a job for money. So building great side businesses. And so I learned a lot more. And so from that, I started building my first actual websites and looking for clients. And I started in Australia. I copied his model exactly, applied it to Australia, even though I was here living in Hong Kong. That was a terrible idea. But anyway, just tried it. Built out 10 websites in Australia and tried to rent out those websites in a brand new model, new business model, which was an adaptation of SEO. It was SEO to generate leads. And we call this lead generation, okay? And I'm not trying to sell you this business model because I think it's not for everyone. But basically, generating leads, selling leads. Build a website, rank it, leads come in, and you sell those leads. I started doing that, and it took me ages, took me years to get a client because once I'd built the technical skill, I then had to develop the skill of getting clients, and that was brand new to me. I was not used to that being in the church world. And so I had to get those skills. And over time, I started building a side income, which was awesome. Yes, I nearly quit. Yes, I nearly tried other things, but I persisted, and eventually something hits. So I want to encourage you, if you're in that place, don't quit. Keep going. Maybe adjust things a little bit. That's fine, but stick with it. And so, I started selling to businesses in Australia, grew that, built out 10 more websites, got more customers. Then that started really, I realized the limitations of doing business in another country. And it's certainly doable. And I still have those clients right now, years later, they still pay me every month. And it is a large part of my business. But I just thought there's a better way to do this, and that would be in the country that I live in. So here in Hong Kong, I avoided that for many years because I don't speak Chinese. But I started looking for clients in Hong Kong, and I built out some websites, and I started selling leads here. And that is now probably I think it's about half of my profits is now from within Hong Kong, and then half is within Australia. So that's kind of, I guess, the long story of how I got to lead generation in Hong Kong, which is where I've settled as a business model. And it will not be what I do forever. And I still also have some SEO clients on the side, but this works for me. It gives me I spend a lot of time upfront building websites, but then once it's ranked and generating leads, there's nothing to do. Just bill the clients every month. And that's why 5 years in, I spend very, very little time on my current lead generation business. I still spend a bit of time on SEO because that's monthly work that's needed. But most of my time, most of my profit is passive now that I've got those clients and the website's generating leads. So that's a really great model for some people out there. Others of you, I think you should do things with ChatGPT. Maybe you should do some things with social media, do some things with building websites, video editing. There's lots of ways that you can make money online in a way that is scalable and is fun, which is important. So don't get stuck up on my business model, but I wanted to encourage you with a bit of my story. If you don't know, I make a few $1,000s every month now in my side business and using very, very little time. And you can too. It's really possible. And you've got to start somewhere. So if I kind of summarize my journey, I'd say start somewhere, start in things that you like and adapt, and don't be afraid to change, but also understand when you're getting cold feet and you're just wanting something different. Like, don't just change because you want something different. Sometimes it's good to stay with the thing that's actually working. And then also sometimes you just need to persist in something that is hard. And once you get some success in that, it'll actually, you realize, this is actually the barriers to entry and why other people cannot come along and just take my business out from under me, because it was actually hard to build this. So anyway, I'm rambling a little bit there, but I wanted to encourage you with my story. Yes, you can build a great business and without it sacrificing all this family time, and it's going to be actually a blessing to your family and to your life purpose, whatever that is. So I'd love to see you in one of my other videos. Check out this video here about the right kind of mindset towards building an online business in 2024, and I'll see you in the next one.